Good evening, Professor Willard and classmates. This is Daniela Huerfano. I have decided to um, create my project for Business 410 based on a market research utilizing Tableau. Before I go into details about this, I want to share something. Any business has challenges entering any market, especially small businesses with limited resources and knowledge. In many instances, small businesses need more staff to set foundations, which causes unproductive and ineffective procedures in the long run, leading to financial mistakes. In a study published by Statistica.com on November 8th, 2022, we learned that in 2022, there were 268 million digital buyers in the United States. This figure is projected to increase to almost 285 million online buyers in 2025. The most popular online shopping category in the United States includes fashion, toys and hobbies, and electronics. This confirms that businesses cannot opt out of an online presence and conducting businesses on the World Wide Web. An online presence is a must to remain competitive. Barriers to entry are a giant elephant, and small business owners need to approach it one bite at a time. With this in mind, I decided to utilize the opportunity to create my Tableau project to help my small business, which will probably launch within the next 2 months. Initially started as a wedding favor vendor, and I am looking forward to having my website live within the next 2 months. However, I understand that market research is something that should be done before you launch your business rather than later, because it prevents you from making a lot of financial mistakes, which can be very costly for small businesses more than for big businesses. This is the reason why I'm utilizing Tableau to find out exactly what the population looks like within 7 counties in New York State. As I download the data from US Census, I realized that the data had several differences. The first one was the data was in columns, but when I would upload it to Tableau, Tableau wouldn't recognize it as a geographic location. I struggle with being able to sort out from percentage to numerical numbers. And this took me a little bit of time. I also learned the hard way that for small data, even though this is a big document, it's about close to 400 rows. But for data this size, when compared to data like the one provided for our Vista Bean coffee shop, um, maps are not ideal, and it's not the most clean way to represent your data. And so I was forced to manually convert this data into this. And although this was very time consuming, putting the counties as a column and then kind of creating a bucket, and then essentially this is like the first list, and then this is the second list. This saved me a lot of time, because when I moved into Tableau, if I take you to my sheets, I would have to rely on a lot of creating my own fields and my own calculations here. which during the assignments was very useful because there were a lot of resources available. But one of the challenges, as we know, for this assignment was we would have to utilize our own data. And so I didn't have an example that would apply for all my data. And so I learned that if I was to convert my data to this, then when I came to Tableau, even though this took a lot of time, Tableau was better at this type of organization. And when it was here, I relied heavily and solely on utilizing filters. And so when I was creating my visualizations, I was doing a lot of mix and match by just clicking. So essentially, I would choose from this bucket and then narrow it down here, which was information given by the census. This is my market research, and I want you to keep in mind that at this point I had already become familiar with my data, and so I already kind of narrow it down to finding clarity or on of where I'm going to invest money to pay for advertisement. This population is not the total population of these 7 counties. In reality, this population is the population of my two target markets, age group 18 to 34, both female and male, and 35 to 64, both female and male. The reason why I chose both female and male is because I found out on an article by Statista.com that both female and male buy self-care. One of the items is scented candles, right? So both female and males buy scented candles. And the percentage different from each other might be more or less 10%. And so you would have in countrywide, you would have 50% females prefer scented candles, as 48% of males prefer Febreze or room spray or liquid scented fragrances. And this is why I decided to include both male and female on my target market. After learning that, I was able to see which county had the majority of females and in what age group. One interesting fact that I learned was that in Kings County, which is Brooklyn, it has the biggest population of females from 35 to 64. And although the education is no past a bachelor's, a lot of the females here are single mothers. And as a business, it was important for me to learn this because that qualifies them as possible consumers of my self-care line. I also realized that within those moms, and my ideal income or a person that could afford one of my most sold items is $45, right? A person that makes close to 70,000 can afford it. And so within Kings County, I can still advertise to target females because I know that they have a characteristic which is single moms, and usually single moms need a lot more self-care. And it's my experience within the time that I have been doing this as a side. I then decided to look into the education, and I realized that in some counties, the highest female salary could be between 60 and 70 and 80,000 a year, but it would also overlap with the bachelor's degree. And so in some counties, there's two or three characteristics that allow me to understand that I will have customers, and these customers are very likely to purchase for me because of the characteristics overlapping within the same county. Going back to using the filters, if we look into these two filters, right? Just to explain you what I learned is that if I wanted to see sex and age in all the counties between 18 and 34, then I'll be able to do this by solely relying on filters by organizing my data. In retrospect, if I could do this, I would definitely narrow down my research into finding exactly the population within each zip code or within each city. However, the U.S. Census does not provide all the cities within a county. It will provide principal cities or like electoral division, congressional divisions, but not a specific on every all 63 cities within Suffolk. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. You have a great day.